This bait isn't just for fishing close to shore. I use it confidently with feeder rigs, bottom rigs, and other setups that require long casts. It stays on the hook well and attracts several species, including crucian carp, common carp, bream, and roach. It can be especially effective on those difficult days when worms, maggots, and other traditional live baits suddenly stop producing bites. The best part is that you won't need any expensive or hard-to-find ingredients. Everything is simple and affordable, and the preparation doesn't take much time. However, you can't just mix everything in a bowl and head straight to the lake. A few small details will determine the texture, durability, and overall effectiveness of the finished bait. I start with one whole chicken egg. Both parts are important. The egg white helps bind the mixture, while the yolk adds color and a natural scent. Crack the egg into a bowl, add about 1 teaspoon of salt, and whisk everything thoroughly. Salt provides flavor and minerals, so I wouldn't leave it out. Don't simply stir it a few times with a fork. Whisk until the mixture becomes smooth and slightly foamy, with the yolk and white completely combined. The more even the base is now, the easier the bait will be to prepare later. Next comes an ingredient carp already know very well: boiled potato. You can boil it with the skin on or peel it first, the result will be almost the same. The important thing is to cook it until completely soft and remove the skin afterward if necessary. Potato makes an excellent base for homemade carp bait, but we won't simply place a chunk on the hook. We need a very different texture. There is no strict amount required, either. Adjust the batch depending on how many rods you're using and how long you plan to fish. For now, the most important thing is understanding the preparation method and following the correct order. Gradually crumble the soft, peeled potato directly into the beaten egg. You can use your hands or a fork, whatever feels easier. The goal is to slowly combine these two main ingredients into one mixture. Even at this stage, it develops a noticeable smell, but the most interesting part of the flavoring is still ahead. Add about half a teaspoon of dill, followed by roughly 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. After experimenting with different combinations on many fishing trips, I found that these two scents work especially well with potato. I prepare this bait mainly for crucian carp in May, when the water has warmed and the fish are less cautious around stronger aromas. You could also add a little garlic, which carp species generally respond to very well, but today I'm keeping it simple with dill and coriander. Mash everything thoroughly until the potato, egg, and seasonings are distributed as evenly as possible. Don't rush this step. Break the potato into very small pieces and gradually turn the mixture into a smooth paste. A fork may leave a few tiny potato pieces, but that won't cause any problems. If you have a blender, you can make the base almost perfectly smooth and fluffy, although ordinary hands and a fork will still do the job. And while we're preparing it, subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you enjoy simple homemade fishing recipes like this one. Also, tell me your city and state in the comments. I'd really like to know where everyone is watching from. Now comes the most important step, getting the consistency right. Start by adding 2 level tablespoons of regular wheat flour, followed by 1 tablespoon of corn flour. The corn flour slightly changes the texture, makes the bait lighter, and gives it an attractive yellowish color. Don't treat the flour measurements as exact numbers that must be followed to the gram. Eggs vary in size. A large egg adds more liquid and may require extra flour, while a smaller one needs less. Pay more attention to the consistency of the dough than to the number of spoonfuls. Set the fork aside and begin kneading the mixture by hand until it comes together into a soft dough. If it still sticks heavily to your fingers, add wheat flour a little at a time. In my case, I needed about 1 additional tablespoon. The finished dough should smell strong and pleasant and barely stick to your hands. It may look ready for the hook, but this is where the most important detail comes in. This texture might work for short casts near reeds or when fishing from a boat, but it isn't strong enough for serious long-distance casting. The dough will soften once it enters the water, so we need to make it tougher without turning it rubbery. Shape the entire batch into a flat patty about half an inch thick. Don't roll it into a large ball, the flat shape is important for the next step. Place it inside a regular plastic bag, push out as much air as possible, and tie it tightly. Add a second bag for protection and seal that one as well. Taking another 30 seconds here is better than allowing water to reach the dough. Bring a pot of cold water to a full boil, then place the double-bagged patty into the water. This is the step that transforms ordinary potato dough into a durable hook bait that can handle stronger casts. Timing is critical. For a batch this size, boil it for about 15 minutes. A larger or thicker patty may need slightly longer, but 15 minutes is enough to achieve the proper firmness here. While the bait is cooking, turn the bag occasionally and make sure it stays properly submerged without resting too long against the bottom of the pot. Don't rush this stage. We're not simply heating the dough, we're developing the texture that will allow it to stay securely on the hook. After exactly 15 minutes, remove the bag from the water. The difference is immediately noticeable, the bait is firmer and much more elastic. Open the bag carefully because it will still be hot. You'll also notice a strong potato and spice aroma right away. The bait remains soft and flexible, but it no longer has the loose texture it had before cooking. Most importantly, it hasn't turned into a hard, rubbery lump. This is the balance we need. The bait ball should stay firmly on the hook while remaining appealing to fish. There is still one final touch. Add a small amount of regular sunflower oil and spread it lightly over the surface. The oil slightly strengthens the aroma and prevents the flour-based dough from drying out too quickly. This is especially useful if you prepare the bait ahead of time. Don't soak it in oil, a thin coating is enough to keep the surface soft. Now pinch off a small piece and roll it into a firm ball. The bait shapes easily, doesn't crumble between your fingers, and holds its form while remaining soft. You can prepare several balls in advance to save time at the lake. But appearance is only half the test. The real test begins underwater, so let's drop one in and see what happens. This is where the bait produces the effect I like most. A light cloud gradually forms around the bait ball. Tiny particles slowly disperse into the water, creating an additional feeding signal, while the bait itself stays securely on the hook. At the same time, the combination of potato, dill, and coriander releases an attractive scent that works especially well for crucian carp, common carp, and bream. Don't treat this recipe as something that can never be changed. That's part of what makes fishing so interesting. One scent may work perfectly at one lake, while fish somewhere else may prefer a completely different flavor. Use this recipe as a starting point, experiment with other scents, and pay close attention to how the fish respond in your local waters. If you found this recipe helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, enjoy your time on the water, try new homemade baits, and don't be afraid to experiment. Sometimes the simplest kitchen recipe can save the day when worms or maggots aren't producing a single bite. See you on the water.